Hi, welcome back to Voya. So this is the second video in the series on the electronics install. There will be another two after this one. So in this video we're going to look at the chart table and the chart table panel, which is the biggest of the panels. The next video we'll look at the other smaller panels which run things like navigation lights and bilge pumps. And the final fourth video will be looking at the navigation system. As a heads up, I built a comprehensive navigation system for around $3,000. I'll show you how. Okay, so this is my main navigation panel. And the first thing you're going to notice about it is it doesn't have that many switches on. This is one of the big advantages of having a distributed panel system. The only thing that needs to go on here is the things I want to easily be able to switch on and off. So that's all of the AC circuits. You'll notice that we have two circuits, both 15 amp. That's for forward and aft AC. We've got a microwave, we've got a water heater, we've got a battery charger, and we've got a refrigerator. And then along here we've got Starlink, we've got a navigation computer, we've got the basic navigation instruments, plus an electronic barometer and a Navtex instrument. The other ones are for switching a little inverter on, which is just for things like battery charging and the main water pump. Because those are things you want to easily be able to switch on and off. Along here we have the selector switch, which switches between inverter power and shore power. I covered those when I looked at the AC system in the last video. Okay, so let's have a look at behind the panel. So I can simply flick this and lower the panel. You notice I've already taken the cover off the AC circuit so that we can see things. That would normally have a cover on. Okay, so these are all my 12 volt switches. These are the two instruments. You can see everything is bundled. We're not looking at massive great cables. Look behind most chart table panels, you'll see hundreds of wires. I don't like doing that. This simplifies things very easily. The main thing is this back panel. So going through those instruments, this thing is the controller for the electronic log. I've got one of these that uses an electronic field that measures the water going past it rather than the paddle wheel. More accurate, less likely to get clogged, but it does need an extra panel. This little box here, that's the fuse box for all of the cabin lights. I don't need a switch for every cabin light on here. I can just turn those on by switching the lights on. I do want fuses on them, so I've put all the fuses on a separate panel that just covers the lights. This one here is a 40 volt buck boost converter. Buck boost converters are actually quite useful. They give a very stable controlled voltage. You can get them in pretty much any voltage you want. They're far more efficient than an inverter. Sort of 96-98%. They're almost lossless. You can run Starlink. Ideally it takes about 40 volts to run Starlink properly. It can run on 12 volts, but it doesn't like it. You could also run it on mains, but that means you've got to have the inverter running. Far better to just have this little gadget here. That white box over there is the Starlink, the box that Starlink feeds into. I've forgotten what you call them. Okay, so that's that one. This one here is another buck boost converter, and what that is doing is charging this battery. So I've got a 30 amp hour lithium ion battery mounted behind the chart table. That is the always on power system. So there's a big terminal block here, post here. Any radios plug into that. That means that even if I turn off all of my mains electrics, the radio still works. The other beauty of this is high up. If the boat is flooded high enough to drown that battery, we've sunk. Whereas normal batteries are mounted low down in the boat, and so are mine. So substantial flooding means that you probably want to turn the batteries off, because batteries and seawater don't mix. The other thing is that if you have a fire in the electrical compartment, which is one of the most likely places, the electric compartment, the engine room, the galley are where you're going to get a fire. If you get a fire in the engine room, you want to turn everything off, but you still want to be able to do a mayday. This will power a VHF radio for at least 12 hours. If you also have an SSB or other sorts of devices for long-range communications, the great thing about putting a battery in is that you can guarantee you will always get full voltage. A lot of people don't realise, but if you drop the voltage on a standard VHF down to about 11.5 volts, you're probably going to get less than half the transmit power. And yeah, in an emergency, you want to transmit as far as possible. That either means having the engine running to boost the voltage, or having a backup battery to guarantee that it's getting its rated voltage. Radios are normally rated for 13.4 volts, not 12. That's when they give them maximum power. So that's not an essential, but I think it's very useful. Okay, so that's basically it. A very simple system with a lot less wires. We'll close that back up. There we go. Yeah, I'll go through those when I do the navigation panel. Okay, so that runs through the rest of my electronics install. It's quite difficult to go into sufficient detail on a video. It's not the ideal format for it. So I'm going to plug some of my other work. If you're relatively new to sailboat restoration, if you're looking at doing your first project, my book, Budget Sailboat Restorations, is available on Amazon. That covers everything from how to choose the right boat for you, how to approach a restoration, how to work out a budget, how to stay on that budget, how to decide whether something is a feasible restoration project for your level of skill and your finances, or whether it's something to run away from. This boat I bought super cheap, but it needed everything doing to it. That's fine. I could do everything. That way I get a really nice boat that I really like for a relatively low price. But it's also taken me 2.5 years of pretty hard work. Not everybody wants to be able to do that.